Alrighty, thanks for joining us on the first day of August. Happy August 1st, everyone. Where has the summer gone? It has just flown by, and it feels like we are still in this pattern of day after day having storms right along the Front Range and then just a little bit to the east. Now today we're talking about storms in the northern plains, but Denver is once again included in that storm risk. All right, my headline is cutting off a little bit here, but what this says is severe storms target the high plains today. Severe storms is what we are watching for today. We're talking about that hail, high wind, and tornado risk. Thankfully, we have felt those cooler temperatures. Have you guys felt those cooler temperatures where you're at? I don't think that we have anyone in those excessive heat warnings anymore, which is a good thing. Temperatures are cooler for now. They'll get warmer as we head into the rest of August. Just wait for it. You'll see those temperature maps and you'll go, oh, really? Rinse and repeat for tomorrow. We do have another chance for storms in the same spot that we have storms today, tomorrow. Tomorrow, same as today. All right, let's get to it. Let's talk about what we saw yesterday. We nailed this forecast yesterday. One of the biggest things that we saw yesterday was the high wind and flooding on the East Coast. So we covered this live in studio at Hail Trace as these storms were going through places like New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. One of the biggest factors of these storms is that they were slow movers. They took a ton of rain and they dumped it on people during their evening commute, causing a lot of flooding issues across the East Coast. Now heading back to Colorado and Wyoming, that is where we saw storms really in Cheyenne yesterday, hailers in Cheyenne yesterday. We saw, I think, up to golf ball size hail in this area, but for Colorado itself, the closer we got to Denver, all we got was a 1-inch size hailstone just to the south of Greeley, Colorado. So it wasn't too impressive in Colorado yesterday. Let's see if we could do it again today. So let's get to that forecast today. We do have a chance for storms across Denver. Once again, we're talking about the northeastern side of Colorado mainly, and then the western side of Nebraska, western side of South Dakota as well. We could see a few more storms in other places, but I think that'll be the big risk for today. We've got another chance for some high wind across the southeast as well. So we're talking about Jackson, Atlanta, Charleston, all in the path for scattered showers and storms today. But I told you that today is going to be very similar to tomorrow. Once again, we have a chance for storms across the northern plains tomorrow in a very similar spot to where we have it today. The risk shifts a little bit to the east for Sunday, and then we bring Oklahoma and Texas into the picture on Sunday with another risk for storms. So let's break down today's risk. You can see that boundary that's hugging just the middle of Colorado, and then the far eastern side of Wyoming. That's where we're going to see storms spike today, or I guess spark maybe would be the good word for that. That's where we're going to see storms form today. Very similar to what we saw yesterday. Let's take a look at your hail model here. So what we're watching for in the hail model are these darker colors. We're talking about the oranges and the reds. That is going to be your largest hailstone. So let's restart the model. Let's zoom down into places like Nebraska, South Dakota, Wyoming, and Colorado. So where do we see the darkest colors? I would say up near Rapid City, on the far eastern side of Wyoming, and then into South Dakota and Nebraska. Now Denver again is missing out on the largest hailstones. I think today would be your last day for those large hailstones. If you don't get those stones, if you don't get those hailers today, I don't think that you're going to get that tomorrow. It's going to be a low risk for storms tomorrow. Tennis ball size hail for your max hail size today. Where would that be? I would put that up to the north into places like Nebraska or South Dakota. I don't think that's going to fall in Colorado. Now, for the most, that'll be your max hail size. That'll be extremely isolated. So for the most part, what we're watching for here is we're going to be watching for those smaller hailstones, anywhere from $50 to golf ball size hail. We do have a level 2 risk. I think that storms are going to be a little bit more widespread today, a little bit more promising from what I've seen to produce those hailstones. Again, anywhere from $50 to golf ball size hail. Pretty low risk in Billings as we go down to the south here, Rapid City, Casper, Wyoming, and Denver, Colorado, all in that level 2 risk for today. And I'll show you your reflectivity or your future radar once again, and we'll talk about exactly why we think that we have a better risk for hail today than what we saw yesterday. We also have a pretty good risk for tornadoes. It's a level 2 risk up in the northeastern side of Colorado here, and then we've got a level 1 as we go into Nebraska and South Dakota. A few of these supercells, especially once they mature and they get off of the mountain here, so as they go to the east past, As they go to the east past I-25 here, they'll become pretty organized supercells, and a few of those could drop a tornado or two, especially in the eastern side of Colorado. Now come on, we always have a hard time getting off this tornado forecast. Here we go. There we go. All right, now let's go to your wind forecast. All right, the wind forecast today looks pretty promising across Denver, Casper, Rapid City, but as we go down to the south and east, I really want to talk about the east coast here. We haven't talked too much about our southeast storms today. Scattered, widespread showers and storms are likely in this area, causing not only a flooding risk, but also a high wind risk. So we're watching for 60 to 70 mile per hour wind speeds anywhere from Jackson, Mississippi, all the way up to Charlotte, North Carolina. So let's talk about timing here. Very, very similar to yesterday. We're watching for 2 areas for storms, one on the plains and then one down to the south and east. Also very similar to yesterday, those storms will form to the west of I-25. Now, I think it's a little bit more widespread than what we saw yesterday. I think that we're going to see more organized supercells, especially as they cross over I-25 into the peak heating of the day, right? The hottest point of the day, that's going to help to fuel those storms. And you can see that here. We're watching for these isolated storms in the northeastern side of Colorado, into Nebraska, into South Dakota as we head into the afternoon, late afternoon, and evening hours. As the sun goes down, these storms will weaken, very similar to what we saw yesterday. Now I think we're going to go, we're talking about Denver now. All right, let's talk about Denver here. Marginal risk for today. We always say don't underestimate a marginal risk. It could surprise you. The largest hailstone, if we could get a hailer in Denver. Now again, storms will be pretty isolated, so you may not even get any rain in Denver today. But if you could get a supercell in Denver, then the largest hailstone I would expect would be ping pong ball size hail, but we're keeping that risk pretty low today just because of the isolated nature of these storms. Let's take another look at your reflectivity, your timeline for today. 2 o'clock to 7 o'clock, remember that's central time for storms to come through. Once again, very similar to your evening commute, similar to what you saw yesterday. Storms will continue to track to the east through the late night hours, but your Friday night evening plans are probably rain-free. I think that after these storms pass through I-25, you probably will not have a second round of storms after that. Alrighty, moving on to your timeline for our southeastern storms. I told you scattered, widespread showers and storms here. We've got a cold front moving through this area, which is great news. We need those cooler temperatures, but it comes with a flood and a high wind risk as well. So watch out for that flooding risk as we head into the evening hours. You could have some showers and storms during your Friday night evening plans. There's that flood risk here. It's a level 2 highlighted there in yellow for South Carolina and North Carolina. Hey, one thing that we haven't talked about here is we do have a level 2 risk for Denver today as well. Now, it's not a severe storm risk. I don't think that any of these storms will go severe. However, a few of these could produce some really, really heavy rains, giving us that flash flood danger. Excuse me. Flash flood dangers for Saturday, Sunday, across the plains as well. There you go. So there's your forecast today. There's your slight risk for today, marginal risk down to the south. Tomorrow, we've got another slight risk in a very similar spot to what we're seeing today. Things start to change a little on Sunday as we shift this to the east a little bit and we bring in Oklahoma and Texas into the story on Sunday. Here's your future radar for Saturday. Is it going to rain on your weekend plans? That's always the question, right? We were just talking about how it feels so gloomy outside right now here in Oklahoma, but we're kind of grateful for it. It means cooler weather, right? Vic says, I know you guys are usually spot on, but this time I hope you're wrong about Denver. I know, yes, we nailed that forecast yesterday. We said isolated storms in Colorado. That's exactly what happened, but it didn't hit Denver. We're saying today, pretty low chance for storms in Denver, and you're saying, I hope we're wrong. I think that you share that sentiment with a lot of people. I think that a lot of people would agree with you. Alrighty, let's take a look at those storms for tomorrow. Again, forming just to the east of Denver. Denver, you'll probably stay rain-free. If you get a little bit of rain, it's not going to be a ton. Most of the strongest storms are going to form just to the east of you guys for tomorrow. And this is probably where Vic says, I hope you're wrong about that. I hope it forms farther back to the west, right? And then the storms will continue into Kansas and Nebraska through the afternoon and evening hours. There you go. There's the weather on land. Let's go out to sea now. Your Pacific outlook here, it's very, very, very active. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 areas that we have been watching here. We've got one area that we are expecting some sort of organization within the next 7 days. It's a low risk right now, keeping it at a 20% chance right now. But this cluster of clouds right here, do you see this on our satellite? This is going to continue to track to the west, and we've got a really, really high chance, an 80% chance for this forming into a tropical cyclone over the next 5 to 7 days. Now, Gil is still out here. He's a fish storm right now. Gil is currently a tropical storm, so not a hurricane quite yet. We've got another area of storms that isn't doing too much just to the south of Hawaii, and we continue to head to the west. Iona, still a tropical storm, but let me zoom out here and let me show you exactly the location of this storm. This is truly the definition of a fish storm. It is out in the middle of the ocean and likely not to impact anyone on land. Meanwhile, the Atlantic and the Gulf, very, very quiet still. We have no areas of concern across the Atlantic or across the Gulf, Mexico. Alrighty, moving on to your temperatures today. It's a little bit cooler for a good portion of the country. A lot of us today, about 10 degrees cooler than what we saw yesterday. That's awesome. That is really, really good for our AC bill. I'm sure that everyone's AC bill is really, really high in July. This will stay the pattern as we head into the weekend. It's a lot cooler on Saturday and Sunday, but it does not stay cool like this for long. No, enjoy the 70s, 80s, and low 90s this weekend because it does look like temperatures will return to above average, hotter than normal, as we head into the second week of August. So we're talking about August 6th through the 10th here, and we are expecting temperatures to warm back up during that time. We are also watching for a long period of very, very dry weather out to the west, unfortunately, most likely increasing the fire concern in this area. And there's your forecast. Any other questions that we haven't gotten to yet? We're all good? John says that we're good. John was producing today. We appreciate him being here. Well, in the meantime, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. We post a lot of storm chasing videos on there. So if you're missing out on hurricane season because there's not really a ton happening in the Atlantic right now, head over to our TikTok or YouTube pages because we were posting videos of Derek in Hurricane Harvey yesterday. So we look back on old hurricanes and we post those videos all the time. We really enjoy stuff like that. Also, give us a call if you're interested in a hail, wind, or tornado map. Give us a call at 855-334-4245 or email us at info@hailtrace.com. Head over to our website for more information, hailtrace.com. All right, thanks for joining us on this Friday. Happy August 1st. We'll see you back here for your forecast. Same time, same place on